and they invited Fleeta Drungold to talk. And Fleeta, they said, oh, they was laughing at him because when they invited him to speak, they supposed to be big time. They got a place down not far from us, same street. They supposed to be big time Negroes. They're supposed to be the Black Panther Party plus. You know, they got all the paraphernalia and talk and, you know, so they came there and in Oakland, and they didn't leave till a few days after Huey P. Newton was killed. Then they went back down there in Dixie, you know. So they was there to harness anything that might come off of the Black Panther Party. But anyway, they invited Fleeta to talk, and they didn't know that he was a real good friend of mine. And they said, yeah, man, he was hiding under the table. And see, you could tell they armchair socialists because they don't know nothing about the struggle. They don't know what people go through. See, he was not only in Soledad, but he was in Quentin, and they locked him down so tough, and then when George was killed, see, he went through that whole process. And he luckily got out in the late 70s. When I saw him, he had a bottle of Ripple, wine. But I didn't say, man, you're going to be drinking Ripple, and everybody, No, he went through trauma. In fact, his mother, when I was speaking in Oakland, his mother, that's why I want to get the video off the phone. His mother was in the audience, and she sent somebody to come and to bring me to her. And she said, I'm Fleeta's mother. And then she talked, she said, Fleeta never really got out of prison. I said, yeah, I know. She was telling me that he was different when he came home, you know what I mean? And I said, yes, ma'am, I know. In other words, I picked it up from the few times that we saw each other, because technically he was from LA, but he moved up to Oakland and Berkeley. But anyway, when I think about some of our groups and organizations, I think about CARE, I think about Medea Benjamin, I think about all of those types. Because those types are all, let's not call it almost bought and paid for, and they avoid anybody that's real, like they know who they should associate with, and look what happened with Answer and all of them. I was telling Answer, in fact, I told them when they was here, we had one meeting. I said, hey, if y'all want to get hooked up with, meet some real Iraqi ulama, which I knew, they just said, yeah, that's all right, because see, they had went over and they was on that depleted uranium thing. They was over there and making, they did some good videos, but I'm saying, so that would make them the authority on that. Anyway, they felt like they was hooked up, but they said, okay, fine, Okay, so anyway, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So today's subject is strategic brilliance. First, I'd like to just ask, how did everybody react to the program yesterday down, the demonstration on Palestine? Was there anything that happened that might catch the eye, or, it seemed like it was worthwhile, if I could use that?
I'd call it hate to say it, but I'd call it a publicity stunt.
A publicity stunt.
That's the word. That's the wording I would use.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm with you on that, brother. I mean, it was like, now remember, like, in the process of things being what they are, we make certain forecasts and we make certain, okay. So now, this demonstration that they had here fits into a certain category. Number one, it was the ad hoc. They just put it together real quick and rolled everybody out. Okay. And number two, the guy going around passing out the little cards, call your congressman and all that.
Yeah, sure.
No, that's okay. See, everybody, just let everybody be themselves. There's no message in it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, there's no discussion, like they don't have discussions like we do. Okay, now here's the movement on Palestine. Here's where it seems to be, and then they start to educate people. Like when we talk about Palestine and Yemen, and we blend into everything together. Now, this is where the historical movement is. This is what made Palestine different. This is what made this year's escapade totally different than the others. In fact, it was a transitional stage into a historical reality. That's why last week when we was talking about Palestine, I said I'll fill in the rest later. That means if that was Tuesday, we're going to wait till Friday or something like that. And then we're going to fill in the rest. Because by the speed that this thing is going at, by the time this is over, they will have the semi-final conclusion would have happened. Okay, now what happened in Palestine, it was very similar to 1986 with Hezbollah, except it wasn't as devastating on the Israelis. But it was very serious. Number one, the Zionists are not going to allow nobody to rush them into no peace and quiet until they get ready. So what they tried to hold off as long as they could, but those missiles was devastating. See, the population of Israel is different. In the 40s and the 50s, 56 war, 67 war, those Israelis then came out of a traumatic situation in Europe, right? They had came from all the Arab countries, which of course been treating them good, but they were a different breed. Let's call them a pioneer breed. The Israelis that are now there, that are children, adults, and I mean old adults, they're not there for Israel, the homeland, and all of that. They're there for material benefits. And no matter what reason they're there, they can't stand all of that stuff like the old time, Israelis could. Those Israelis might as well be modern Americans or Canadians.
They're from Brooklyn.
Right. They ain't no doubt about it. But not only that, what other generation, except for this difference with the Arabs, and there's a whole difference between the Ethiopians. Some of the Ethiopians they're trying to send back to Ethiopia, and whatever they are, they might as well, they almost got the Black Lives Matter movement in Israel. from the way they being treated. And then you mix up the Yahoo, our friends, they won't go in the army, they won't do nothing, right? But read Torah, what they do, that's what they, right? So the government is mad at them. They're trying to pass laws to make them go in the army. Okay? That ain't gonna work. But whatever it is, it's gonna cause a traumatic reaction. So Israel is not the Israel of decades ago, right? So they can't stand, and they trying to tell us about the Iron Dome, whatever they call that thing, just protecting, it ain't protecting nobody and nothing, right? Most of those missiles, homemade, are getting through. And don't talk about later this year or next month or the next go round if it's on. They will have learned targeting sequences where they're not just shooting them off just to hit wherever. And they have made them longer range. They hitting Tel Aviv and they doing stuff, and they're not going in any Arab neighborhoods. Some kind of way, right? Because remember, the Arab neighborhoods, some of them are a little mixed, but the Arab neighborhoods are Arabs that live there, Israeli Arabs. The internal struggle with the Israeli Arabs, they jumping up and down too, right? They saying, hold it, we're not going for this, you know what I mean? They want, the point is this, the whole sequence of what's happening in that part of the world, especially occupied Palestine, is different than the years before. This one is different. We classified this one as similar to the Israeli invasion of Lebanon in 2006, and it's how they dealt with that. This time, Netanyahu trying to talk out the side of his mouth, but hey, them people was on his case. Hey man, you know, I mean, just imagine the people are not accustomed to them bombs, zoop, and they can hear them whistling by and hitting down the street. And remember now, they kind of hone it in. They got longer range. And the numbers of them, if they say there's a whole lot of difference between what the Western media says and what the Muslims say, they've sent over. You see what I mean? Whatever it is, the Iron Dome, whatever they call it, to protect it, it couldn't protect him. So we're in a different phase of the movement now. But the demonstration yesterday, okay, by the people that had it and by the people that came, it was just a bus ride, and at the bus ride, the people didn't pay their own way. They had them buses. They had them buses at the Masjid. All you got to do is get on and come on up. You see, so you could tell the people were
festive.
Huh?
Festive.
Okay, you've been to demonstrations before. There's a certain demonstration focus, like.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
They didn't have none of that. They didn't have none of that. And so, therefore, that was, the other demonstrations, you could almost tell when they're bussed in, and you could tell there's a difference between, if they're bussed in, that means certain kind of Masjid is sponsoring it, and we could see who was sponsoring it and how it's ran. I mean, they almost was running it so that you couldn't hear anything. If you was right around, hold it, what are you doing? If you're not within 20 feet of the speaker, don't know what's going on,
That's right.
right?
I didn't know that was where the main events were at. I thought, oh, okay, they're just people.
Okay,
standing
what
up there.
about putting big speakers up there, at least 2 to cover it?
That's right.
Right.
Or you could put 2 speakers up there like ours, that would at least somebody can hear what we're saying. You know what I mean? The point is this. They were in a bind when they needed to get out. They needed to get out, they needed to pretend to be in this, this is the United States. And so those people that were there, some of them were Palestinian and some of them were, but it wasn't like, it was Nihad in this group. Nihad's from Palestine too. Yeah. But anyway, there's going to be a benefit from that demonstration. But it's not the benefit that they just was looking to get out real quick, you know what I mean? And to tell the truth, the press TV types and the media, all of those, you could tell now who is all linked. You can see the whole crew by the platform. Yeah, by the way it's organized. It was ad hoc, let's get somebody out, we'll get it on the press TV. As soon as I push the button, there it is, okay? And what they were showing on press TV was not what we were seeing.
Right. That's right.
You see what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, you would think it was Mark Montgomery cut
That's
there.
right. That's right.
Yeah, man. No. I'm saying,
That's right.
look, it's not even uncomfortable being on the right road. Sometimes telling the truth, you know what I mean, and having the whole system on your case. Now, I'm just saying about myself. It's not uncomfortable being correct and being on the right focus on this. I've been doing it so long, now I'm used to it. Now, I imagine anybody else is kind of new to this might be adjusting to it. You know, they might be adjusting to this this new environment. But we've been here, let's see, we've been here and we've been doing this for so long that it becomes second nature. It is second nature, and it's good. I was looking for a few little, let me see what I got here. I got a couple little things from way back when. And it gives kind of an idea. Let's see. Muslim African Americans past president potential. That's one of the magazines that when the chief passed away, they put him in one of their magazines. That's Imam Muhammad. Excuse the lines and everything, but the printer was messing up a little bit. Okay, so that's the chief. This is over a decade old. 2011, yeah, sure. Forum posted provocateurs posing today as Oakland Liberation Front. You know, that we showed these 10 years ago when it was new. But this is from the internet, and it was, the brothers out there did the last 2 photographs tell me that there are rogue elements in Occupy Oakland or agent provocateurs. Now, I know this is true because when Oscar Grant was killed in Oakland, I think he's the guy that they had him down. He was on a train, and they just shot him. He's on the ground, man. And the police shot him. So they changed the name, the plaza, to Oscar Grant. Now, at those demonstrations, when they first happened, it's people that came by here. They're on the radio out there, and they was, when Malcolm was coming through here, they had a group of the Shias that was, anyway, so what was happening was, when I came to, when I said a little while ago that I was at a demonstration and Frida Drungo's mother was there, well, one of the guys that was here, he's linked with Hashem, he's linked with all of that crew. They're the same ones that when we were getting big gravy and input from the assassination of Oscar Grant, they're the ones that run downtown, burning stuff. You know, like when you get the news on your side, if you go out and burn something down, then you lose that benefit. They'll switch it, they'll say, thank the Lord, and then they'll switch it to, we got to suspend the police, these people, that, you lose it right away. That's what they did. This crew I'm talking, this is what the agent provocateurs did. And if you're watching the videos, I can see it from here. People on the radio, was right in the front line. And I said, man, they're gonna get this. That's not new. That's an old pattern. Whenever we get the news going in our direction, we don't know, some other stuff might come up. They'll arrange some stuff. 1, 2, 3, pretty soon, since we didn't work fast, since we wasn't struggling hard and getting organized, we lose the benefit of that whole life that might have been taken, of that whole political arena at that time. Some of this stuff is time specific, right? And if you don't use it right away, you lose the element of the time. That's why I like to by the gift of time, is that as it has unfolded through the age of recording man's successes and failures, surely man is in a state of loss except